Welcome back to the Kiwi Wedding Podcast. My name is Lydia. I'm an Auckland wedding photographer and your host. Today on the podcast, I'm joined by Kelly, and this one is such a fun listen if you're planning a wedding that feels like you, not a copy and paste of what everyone else is doing. Kelly chats us through how she and Mike met, plus their New York proposal story. We chat through how they planned their wedding at the Glasshouse in Auckland, with guest experience as the number one priority, and Kelly's holy trinity for a great wedding, the three things that matter most. She shares her dress shopping experience at Hair Couture, including a genuinely iconic fire alarm moment mid-try-on, which was definitely giving Bridesmaids movie without the gastro in the middle of the street. We also talk about the mental load of wedding planning and how it sits alongside work in real life. The day itself was cocktail style, a mix of high and low, champagne and fried chicken, signature cocktails, a beautiful ceremony, and a few clever details that made it unmistakably them. We also chat budget, what they chose to prioritize, why photo and video mattered so much to them, and Kelly's wisdom around being the guest of honor at your own wedding. Kelly is a co-founder and journalist at the digital media platform Capsule, where she's also shared about her wedding, and I'll link to in the show notes for you. You can follow the podcast on Instagram and find photos from Kelly's day there too. All right, let's get into it. Enjoy episode 131 with Kelly. Hi, Kelly. Thank you so much for joining me on the podcast today. Excited to hear all about your wedding.
I'm excited to talk about it.
Yay. Another chance too is always good.
Exactly.
To start with, I'd love for you to go back and tell us a bit of the story of how you and your partner met and your life together.
So Mike and I met almost 4 years ago now. He did the old slide into my DMs, which I kind of like because it's a bit modern, but it was actually my a business that I started 5 years ago. It was our first birthday party for Capsule, and he saw a photo of me on a mutual friend's Instagram page and somehow thought, oh yeah, she looks all right. Started following me for a couple of months until he realized we had another mutual friend who made the introduction, and we went on our first date, and that lasted about 5 hours, and here we are.
Oh, so good. Love turned into like a whole day.
When the afternoon turns into the dinner, turns into more drinks after that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good. Love that. So you were together for a while, then got engaged. Can you tell us a bit about the proposal story?
We had a trip to America planned, and I think I'm like every girl, and I was like, I really hope he does it when we're over there because it'll be a good story. And I'm also not the most patient person in the world. So we were in New York, and unbeknownst to me, he'd been carrying around this ring for days waiting for the perfect spot. He kind of had advice from his best friend to not to plan the big proposal, rather wait for the moment to present itself and then go from there. And he'd really taken this advice to heart. So he was just waiting for the perfect time. And we were walking through Central Park, and he thought it was going to be there. And if you've ever been to Central Park, it's cool, it's amazing, but there's a lot going on in that park. So wasn't quite it. But we're really big into our food and wine. Mike used to own and run bars, so he's always been in the hospo industry, and we ended up in this little bar in Greenwich Village, and we had searched the city for this one particular cocktail that Mike wanted to try. Found it in this place, got there at 4 o'clock, which is ridiculously early for a bar in New York. Even the bartender was like, what are you doing here? I'm like, drinks. So we found the cocktail that he wanted. We were the only people in the bar. And I think I said something like, oh, this is just one of those awesome travel moments of I wish we could just do this forever. And he was like, yes, my time. Fumbled in his bag, pulled out the ring, and there we were. And weirdly, he was halfway through his proposal speech, and the bartender walked back in, and he's like, what the hell is happening? Whipped out his phone and started recording it. So we have it on video, which is actually, half of it on video, which is really nice.
Oh, so sweet. Yeah, definitely an even better travel moment there then. Love that story. It just sounds very glamorous as well. Engaged in New York. Love it.
It was very good, but the ring was a little bit too big for me. So the whole rest of the night was just me kind of clutching my hand, being got to keep it in a fist. Can't lose this ring.
So good. Had you been one of those girls that dreamed about your wedding? Did you have kind of a vision in mind of what you wanted? And what were those like first steps starting to plan?
Oh, I have been dreaming about this. I'm one of those kids, man. Like 9, 10, pillowcase on the head, like full. I think even like as a hobby in my 20s when we first discovered Pinterest and we thought, oh, this is jazzy. Like I even had like fake Pinterest boards of all of these like faux weddings that I didn't even want, but like I thought, well, this is fun.
Maybe you should get a planner.
Honestly, I did think about it
Yeah.
every now and then. But yeah, I mean the gulf between journalism and wedding planning, I think, is a little bit too far for me. But yeah, I've always thought about my wedding and what I wanted. You know, and with every relationship, you kind of go in, you start thinking about it. And I remember one of the times thinking of like, oh yeah, I actually think I want to marry this man. Is when I thought about what our future wedding could look like if we got there, and kind of realized that it was this beautiful meshing together and coming together of everything that we love. And it's that kind of was the guide going forward for the day.
Oh, so good. And so did you kind of go out and look at a bunch of different venues? Did you know what you wanted on that front?
We looked at one venue.
Nice.
We booked that venue. We
Amazing.
knew we're quite decisive people in a lot of ways. We wanted somewhere that was a bit of a blank canvas because we knew we weren't going down the traditional route. But we also didn't want it to be too much of a blank canvas. I remember my friend Barbie, who got married, she said, just never ever go and plan a wedding where you have to bring in your own forks. And that's really stuck with me because she had a full DIY wedding, which was one of the most incredible weddings I've ever been to. But the effort that was required for that was intense. So we knew what we wanted, and yeah, went to the Glasshouse in Auckland, which is a very popular wedding venue. And we went and was like, yep, this is it, done, let's go.
Such a beautiful spot there, and like perfect indoor outdoor vibes. Doesn't matter what the weather is. Beautiful natural light, greenery. Yeah, so
That
good.
was the key. Our number one consideration was we did not want to be worried about weather or being reliant on weather because we live in New Zealand and we
Hmm.
just cannot,
No
we
matter what the
can
season is. Yeah.
no matter what. Like it's the world that we're living in. So we really wanted somewhere that was weatherproof. And on the day it was a little bit rainy, so we were very justified and a wee bit smug, I think, in our decision to go down that route.
Oh, I love that. Such a beautiful spot. And yeah, what were your sort of top priorities when you were planning the most important elements for you on the day?
The guest experience was number one. In terms of the not so much the marriage, but in terms of the wedding, the guest experience was huge. If we figured if we're investing this much money, we're investing this much time and effort, and we are asking, all of these people to come and celebrate with us, we need to make sure we're giving them a hell of a time. So basically, I've always kind of thought with weddings that if you have the Holy Trinity in place, you're kind of good to go, right? Like the food is good, the booze is plentiful, and there is a good music option. People will make fun no matter what else happens. So we kind of focused on those three things and went out from there.
Tell us a bit about your wedding outfits, your dress shopping experience. How did that all go?
Oh my God, this was like honestly, bar my wedding day was probably one of the best days of my life. Because this is what the dream centers around, right? When you're a kid, this is
Yeah.
it. Like when you're 9 years old, you've got no idea what a marriage is. You're thinking about the dress that you're wearing on your wedding day. So there was a shit ton of expectation with this dress, I will say. So I got all my bridesmaids together. We went out. We had honestly, it was probably counterintuitive. The biggest pasta lunch I think we've ever had, and then went to Hera Boutique, Hera Couture in K Road in Auckland, and it was one of the most incredible experiences. If you were looking for a wedding dress, just go there. It was one of the most incredible moments of the whole journey because the way that all of these dresses were presented to me, shockingly, I had a pretty good idea of what I thought I wanted. I've also been like the biggest fan of Say Yes to the Dress.
So
Me
good.
and my best friend I think we've watched every episode. Like this is the level of insane that they were dealing with me. But I also wanted to like what I learned from that show is that you have to try on every style, even if you don't like it or don't think it is. You have to try it on because wedding dresses are very different from your everyday you can definitely reflect your style and you should reflect your style in your dress, but sometimes, the rig does different things in a wedding dress. So I tried on a lot of things. I had obviously a mood board of things that I wanted to look at. And my first wedding dress that I was in, it was the biggest one, I think, in the store because I was like, if we're doing this, we're going in, guys, let's go, let's hit it. like frou out, layers everywhere, and the fire alarm goes off, and I'm
Oh,
half in this dress, like my back is all out, but we have to get out of the shop. And if you know K Road in Auckland, you will you will know that it's a street that is very inclusive of every single person on the planet. So it did not actually
yeah,
feel out of place for me to be
true.
in this on. It felt very bridesmaids though, like without the gastro part.
Yeah.
So it was an interesting experience. But yeah, ended up with my absolute dream dress. As soon as I put it on, I did that thing of course I'm going to lose a bit of weight before the wedding, yada yada yada. But I felt incredible in it then, and I felt even more incredible in it on the day. Mikado silk V-neck, the rigging in that dress just brought everything in without having to actually bring everything in. I just felt the most confident and gorgeous in that dress. It was incredible.
So good. They're incredible. They're at Hera. Really look after you. And yeah, you had a bit of an experience then, the fire alarm and everything, but it makes a good story for sure.
Again, I'm a journalist, right? Like
Yeah.
good yards, good yards, good yards. It's fine. But yeah, Katie and her team just looked after me like in the most incredible way. And it's a really vulnerable experience trying
Yeah.
on a wedding dress because there's so much pressure and expectation not only on yourself but everyone else for you to look the best you've ever looked. And insecurities come along with that. And there's, you're staring at yourself in this mirror with like, yeah, your best mates, but still everyone's looking at you and you're looking at that one part of your body that you think, oh, I don't really want that to be on show. But I didn't have iota of doubt in that dress, and I think it was one of the most amazing experiences, bar the wedding day, that I think I've had.
Oh, so good. It can be quite a high pressure, yeah, vulnerable experience. So yeah, having the right people around you to lead you through that. And yeah, you had your little say yes to the dress moment. So I love
I really did.
that.
It was like, this is my favorite reality show coming to life, and I didn't have to go on Love Island. Like,
Yeah.
perfect.
Love it. So good. So you had a bridal party. How did you find that process choosing them? Was that easy for you?
Honestly, that I don't know if you want to keep this in or not, but that was the one low light of my whole wedding experience, was choosing the bridesmaids dresses, just purely because the place that I went to didn't really deliver what I wanted. I had to kind of make a choice. I mean, did I have to make a choice? I could have not actually picked those dresses, to be fair, but the bridesmaids dresses are a little bit of a weird one, because especially if you're paying for them, as I wanted to do, because the color that I wanted, it was kind of like a champagne. I think it was called cappuccino. It wasn't like you'll definitely wear this again. So I was like, well, I am going to pay for these. I'm not asking people to fork out for that. So when you're looking at a bill of, best case scenario, a grand to outfit everybody, you're kind of thinking, okay, how do I do this efficiently and effectively? So yeah, the dresses ended up fine, but the in-store experience was pretty crap. And if I'd had my time again, I definitely would have done that different. So I guess that's the only piece of advice I'd say with that is, like, they don't just go down the easiest route that's in front of you with that. It's worth doing a little bit more of a shop around than I did. I think that's where my decisiveness bit me in the butt a little bit.
Mm.
It looked great on the day, but
Yeah,
yeah.
I know that can be quite a hard point for people, and there has been like not that many options in New Zealand in the past. We're getting a bit more, but yeah, it can be hard. And then if you maybe don't give yourself enough time, or yeah, just shop around a little bit more. And most people these days kind of get like a different style dress to suit everyone's individual bodies or whatever that looks like. But yeah, that's a shame. It was not the most ideal experience for you, but
Yeah. It
yeah.
was just very much like we got someone, I think, who just didn't care on a Sunday afternoon. She was very, very young, didn't really know the difference between the fabric, didn't know the difference between the color, couldn't show me the actual dress because they didn't have any dress in the store that was in the color that I wanted. So I was kind of going off my gut feeling and a little swatch, which is hard. Yeah, it wasn't the thing is though, in the grand scheme of things, if that's the only thing that goes wrong in your wedding, like, and it didn't even go wrong, it just didn't go as well as I wanted. So I feel a bit bratty for even really saying it, to be honest. But
No.
you're right, there's not a lot of choice. There's not a lot of choice in New Zealand, especially if you want to go down the route that I did and actually try them on and see them, which I tried to do anyway, as opposed to ordering them online and kind of hoping for the
Yeah,
best. Yeah.
which a lot of people do. And yeah, both ways can be tricky. So yeah, no, I think that's like will be relatable for people to hear for sure. Yeah, kind of going back a bit to your early planning stages when you were choosing your bridesmaids and groomsmen, was that a hard process as well?
No,
Or no,
not at all.
quite easy for you guys?
Yeah, it was. I mean, I've got four best mates, and
Yeah.
that's what it was. And they're the most incredible women. They've kind of come from all four corners of my life. And I definitely wanted them all to be included because I kind of looked at it like it's not just the day, it's all of the lead up, and it's all of these things you hopefully, well, no, but maybe only do once. So it was, thinking about, oh, the hens do, that's going to be amazing, and the lunches, and I was kind of bringing four different people together who knew each other, but hadn't really had a lot of quality time together. And it was just the best, like absolutely the best. And I probably got emotional. The first time I got emotional on the day was just seeing these four women show up for me, who are the most incredible friends. And it was the same for Mike as well. He had his two best mates, and his sister as well was in his bridal party, and they're super close. And she's the sister-in-law of dreams, so it was really cool to have her part of it. And we didn't have any children at our wedding because I am not the most patient person when it comes to children. Love them, but thought, yeah, maybe probably not really my vibe. Which I'm gonna laugh at probably when I hear in a few years time when I have a child and actually understand a lot more. But we did
Yeah.
have our nephew, Mike's nephew Cooper. He was a little ring bearer, which was great. He came down the aisle with Mike before I got there in a little trolley, handing out beers. Well, Mike was handing out the beers. Cooper was just kind of sitting there thinking, what the hell is going on? But yeah.
Oh, so good. Love that. I think it's kind of nice if you're inviting people with kids for them to like have a afternoon night off anyway, not be like parenting the whole time. So
No one wanted to bring their
yeah.
children anyway.
Yeah,
We were told
totally.
that in very uncertain terms. No
Yeah,
uncertain terms.
so good. And yeah, how did you find that whole narrowing down the guest list? Was that tricky?
Super hard because where do you
Mm.
stop? How long's a piece? Like we would have loved to have had more people that we did there, but I mean, we also wanted to eat and live, so we
Yeah.
had to cap it somewhere. But no, it wasn't. We kind of had a loose rule of if we both don't know somebody, then maybe we need to have a little look at it. There were exceptions to that, obviously, as there always are. But I mean, at the same time, I'm really happy we had so many people be there on the day, and that whole adage of you only get twice in your life when everybody loves in the same room, and one time you're not there to see it. So
Yeah.
it was important to us to include as many people as we could.
Yeah. How many did you end up having on the day?
I think it was 116.
Okay,
Yeah,
nice. Yeah,
yeah.
and good number. It's always a hard process, that one. And yeah, can you just tell us a bit about the day, maybe the week leading up to it, how it all went down, and yeah, any highlights or favorite moments?
My God, I can't even remember the week before it, honestly. Like we were pretty chill. We didn't have a wedding plan or anything, but the we had a coordinator at the Glasshouse, which was a lifesaver. They were, oh, Paige, you're the best. Like the most incredible. There wasn't I wasn't very stressed leading up to it at all. We had done a lot of work, like we'd done the mahi, and now it was time for the treat. We had put a lot of effort into making sure that there were things there that we wanted, and it was just kind of then having faith that it would all work out, which it did. I can't say the same for my husband. I think he is operations manager by trade, so he's a detailed run sheet guy. So weirdly, it was a little bit of a twist of the traditional dynamic, I guess. I was just like, yeah, sweet. Let's start celebrating. Who's got the booze? Like, let's bubbles, let's go. Whereas Mike was a little bit more like, details, details. But it was great. It was fine. We had a really nice lead up. Yeah, we had a really nice lead up to everything. I was just so excited to when I was gonna say I was so excited to get it done. And it's like I dreamed about this day for so long, and it was incredible. But also, planning a wedding is so taxing on not only your actual time but your mental load as
Yeah.
well, because it's always just in your head of like, okay, well, have I done everything? Like, there's my life to do list, and there's my work to do list, and now there's a wedding to do list. And even if you're pretty chill about it, and you don't sweat the small stuff, as I try not to do, it's still just kind of there. And I don't think we talk about that mental load side more because, of course, it's a lot of time and effort, but it weighs on you sometimes of like, even like when you are trying to, get the rig into shape a little bit of like, oh, should I be doing that? Or, that and you can be very hard on yourself sometimes with all of that. So when I say I was looking forward to getting it done, I was looking forward to getting it done because I could not wait to marry Mike. He's, my lobster. I love him, and to be able to marry him was just the most incredible privilege. But I also looking forward to that mental load list to being
Yeah,
checked off. Yeah.
absolutely. I think that's so relatable for people, just, yeah, the brain space it takes up, and even, yeah, subconsciously, like you say, that kind of pressure you might feel to look your very best, or have everything kind of work out perfectly on the day. And there's so much that is taking that mental load at the time. So relatable. Do you want to give us a bit of a rundown of the day?
Of the day? What can I remember? It goes in a blur. It's everyone always says, and you don't really believe it until you do it, and you're like, oh, okay, that's what they meant. So we got ready. We booked a little Airbnb close. We live in Auckland, but we just booked one a little bit close so we could not stress about getting there. Had a lovely morning, and then it was time to go. As I said, Mike walked down the aisle first. He rightly too. He said to me like, why is it just the bride who gets her moment? And like Mike is an extrovert, to put it mildly, loves to be the center of attention. I'm kind of a 50-50 on it. Sometimes yes, sometimes I'm like, no, but most maybe eerie on the side of yes. But so he came down the aisle to Stargazing by Miles Smith. He just loved that song. His initial plan, which I put a huge veto and kibosh on, was to come down the aisle standing on the shoulders of his best man. Now, the Glasshouse is a concrete floor. And so we were going back and forth on this for like a year. My best friend was like, he's joking. Carl, he's pulling your leg. And I'm like, the man is not joking. He will, if he can figure this out, he will do it. Luckily, he couldn't figure out how to do it, which is why we had the beer trolley plan B, which was really cool. I didn't really see a lot of it, but I remember standing, waiting with my bridesmaids and my dad, and I just had this massive chair. And it was when Mike got to the end of the aisle pulling our 4-year-old, and then he went to give his mother a can of beer, who I don't think would ever drink a can of beer, and instead just took it back and scolded himself. So that was kind of like, the vibe of our day was very centered on fun. We firmly believe still, weddings shouldn't really have too much of a theme because you're getting married. The wedding is enough, but we were kind of wanted a high-low vibe to everything because it's kind of who we are. So fun was definitely if you had a little keyword, one of those word cloud things, that was definitely there. We wanted to go away from like soft romantic or anything like that, because it just isn't really, it's not who we are as individuals or as a couple. So we went with the high-low thing. Our mood board was kind of like champagne, but then cheeseburgers, and having that little mix of things. And like for our brief that we gave to the photographer and videographer, it was like, and you could tell I worked in magazines for a very long time, but it was Vanity Fair Oscars after party, which is niche to say the least. And that was kind of our guiding kind of North Star of whatever we did. So we didn't have a sit down dinner. We didn't want that. We did cocktail kind of style, walk and talk. And it was champagne and fried chicken and bao buns. All of the my food palate has sometimes been described as one of an aristocratic toddler, and I really went with that. And I was like, if I'm partying, if I'm like I'm drinking, it's a Kiwi wedding. Like I don't want tiny things on tiny sticks. I want carbs and food that I like. So we went with that. We had cocktails because, as I said, Mike owned a bar, so we're big on our cocktails. So we had a coconut chili mug for me, a Negroni for him, and then we had espresso martinis because I'm a millennial woman and needs must for the crowd. And we didn't have a wedding cake either. We're not cake people, so we're like, why do it to tick a box? We were big on not ticking a box because quote,
tradition.
We had to tradition. So we just had trumpets instead. So we just had a huge hall of trumpets that were handed around, and that was really fun. Sorry, I've jumped ahead a little bit there, but yes, he came down the aisle to that. I came down the aisle to the just, I guess, to be cheesy, but our song, one that we both loved. We realized we both loved during lockdown when we first got together. And then we had our ceremony was our celebrant was my very dear friend Caitlin Merritt. She is an incredible celebrant. She lives in Christchurch now, who I met through my through journalism. She worked in radio for a long time, and it was really important for us to have somebody doing it that knew us. We have, she was astronomically amazing, and it actually was really cool as well, like seeing my friend do her mahi, doing it so well, and I'm standing there, I'm looking at Mike, I'm like, yeah, you're important, so I'm getting back, but oh my god, girl, I'm so proud of you, you're doing so well, this is amazing. And it was great. We had a couple of readings, a reading by Dolly Alderton that I really love, Everything I Know About Love, which kind of summarizes the vibe of the wedding too. If you know that reading, it's kind of high-low and a little bit funny. And then we were married. It was incredible. Also, my bridesmaid Whitney, she did a whakatauki too, which was really lovely. and really, really personal, which was wild because she hates public speaking. But I remember thinking she must love me if she's offered to do this for us. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was very personal. Everything was very, very personal. The speeches were incredibly personal and funny and warm and cool. Honestly, it was the best day thinking about it. It genuinely was the best day of my life.
So good. I love that. Yeah, sounds like so many amazing moments in there. And yeah, I love that you just fully made it your own, not trying to, yeah, tick these like wedding tradition boxes or pressure from family to do things certain ways, whatever that looks like. But
Yeah, I can see how people get into that trap though. Like it's
mm,
all well and good to kind of sit here and say, oh, I knew exactly what I wanted, but you do feel certain pressures as you go through.
everyone's opinions kind of come out of the woodwork when you get engaged as well. Did you find that?
Yeah, and it was very much like, and also straight after the wedding, there was, I couldn't believe it. Now it's like, well, when are you having kids? And I'm,
Mm.
can you give me just a second to decompress from that? Because whew, she's a lot. But no, it was interesting, and I mean, I guess I did kind of fall into it a little bit with the bridesmaid dresses. I took the easy option and kind of had faith that it would work out, and kind of did, but kind of didn't. So I don't think you can nail everything. I think it's being way too hard on yourself if you're expecting a dream, like a high gloss magazine editorial wedding in the real world, because I don't even think, well, I even know I covered weddings for New Zealand Women's Weekly and Women's Day for years. If an All Black got married in the space of 2 years, I was there. I've seen like a lot of incredible weddings, but it's realistically something always goes wrong too with
Yeah.
everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, so true. Yeah, great advice. To just kind of keep that perspective on it and lift the perfection, the expectations, which is easier said than done for sure.
So easier said than done, because I can tell that someone getting married, like, and they'll be like, yeah, cool. Like what do you like? And then when you go through it, you're like, oh, okay, this is what you mean. It's definitely, the glass houses, that kind of thing. It's like you say, it's easier said than done with that.
What did you find the hardest part about the whole wedding planning process? Is there anything you look back on and regret or would have done a little bit differently with the
Honestly, no.
bridesmaids' dresses, but otherwise, yeah.
No, apart from the no. I mean, what was interesting to me is that Mike was very hands-on with the planning, which I didn't expect, which is probably like a really like sexist thing to think. Like it's I'm the bride,
It's
therefore,
often that way around though, yeah.
yeah, I'm doing it all. But no, Mike was very, very involved. Sometimes to the point of me being like, can you just let me do this? Because I also don't think he really understood. He definitely understood, but I don't think any man can get what it's like to be a 9-year-old girl with a pillowcase on her head and have that dream for so long. So, which is fine. He shouldn't have to understand that. It's psychotic when you put it that way. So it's yeah. So he was very, very involved, and it meant though that we really got to a really cool place that we both really wanted. Everything that we decided on we wanted to do was a really real collective decision, which was awesome. I mean, there was things we really wanted to do, but we just couldn't afford. Thought, oh, there's like a live portrait painter at the wedding doing watercolors for the guests. How great! And then I'm like, oh no, 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 no. We need to feed them. So
Yeah.
it was kind of prioritizing things that we wanted and saying that we really wanted a bit of quirky and a bit of fun and kind of the antidote to the serious, because it's a serious day. It's a huge day. You're not getting married for the wedding, you're getting married for the marriage. So, but we still wanted to make sure that it was fun. So we had little details that were really important to us. We had a claw machine, like an arcade game, and we got some little plastic baubles and filled them with temporary tattoos with our faces on them. Would be like bottle openers, stubby holders, that kind of thing, like intentionally kitsch, and kind of stuff them in, and then people could win those, and those were kind of like our favors, for want of a better word, but also provided a bit of fun because we were inside. We didn't have the lawn game kind of thing to occupy people. So, me being a journalist now I run Capture, which is an online lifestyle publication, but I used to work in print and magazines. So I designed up a newspaper for the day, an 8-page tabloid style newspaper, and it had like the practical things like the run sheet, who the bridal party were and how they knew us, that kind of thing. But then I also did like sports section. I did a entertainment section. So the sports section, Mike and I are both mad into sport. We both love F1, so there was an F1 story in there. There's a story about me never ever getting my head around fantasy football because I don't understand it, I don't get it. Why does it take up so much of my life now? That kind of thing, just a little personal and fun. The entertainment section had details of a photographer and videographer and the band. I put in a little sidebar of some of the weird song requests that people had asked for that did not make the cut and never will make the cut. The last page was a story with our nephew Cooper being the only kid there, and you interview a 3-year-old about 3 or 4-year-old about what they think love is. That was fascinating. But I liked, and it also had like a crossword in there for people to do as well about things about us that we made intentionally hard. And like the main feedback we had from that, they're like, why did the crossword? What even? Like we knew nothing about this from you. I'm like, exactly. We had a long cocktail hour, and we wanted to make sure that you were entertained through it. So yeah, the little things were really important. And I think the main thing that we did, we wrote every guest a personalized letter. We had it on a board when people came in, so kind of explaining why we loved them, why they were there, that we were really excited to share the day with them, because people make a lot of effort, going to a wedding. It's sometimes there's a lot of cost involved if people have traveled, or we asked everyone to be in black tie. That was one of the high parts. So we wanted to make sure we had something nice for everyone to enjoy.
Yeah, I love that. Those personal touches just really make it your own, and just kind of make it special without having to spend thousands. Like, you would have had to spend a lot of time writing everyone a letter, but
and do you know what, when you
so
don't use
special.
When do we write anymore? Like my hand at the end of it was like, oh my God, yeah.
But so cool to hear about those. And that's my next kind of question about budget. How did you find that side of things? Did you have a set budget? If you're happy to talk about what that was, and how was that process?
Oh, it's terrifying. Like you're spending this much money on one day. Like, what are we, insane? But yeah, Mike and I had a chat about it. Are we prepared to spend, this much money on our wedding day? And we decided yes, we were. It was an intentional decision. It didn't. As soon as we made that choice and that commitment, nothing felt frivolous because we were investing in that day for ourselves and our memories and for everybody in our lives too. The marriage is for us, but the wedding was for everybody else too. So as soon as we were intentional about that and decided on that, I was like, right, let's go. So we kind of had we did a bit of research of what was around, and we kind of landed on what we wanted to do. That 60K was about right. We went a little bit over, but not massively at all. We were really surprised that we were quite proud of ourselves. Yeah, I mean, now we're in the process of buying a house, and we're thinking, oh, that could have been useful, but I don't regret it because especially when you've thought about this day for so long. Nah, I'll do it again with every cent that I had. The one thing I would say, if I had any advice for anybody about like where you're allocating your money to, like I mentioned before, like make sure you've got that Holy Trinity sorted, because that's what people will remember. Like, don't care about, like, we were lucky, we were really privileged, we had money to do those little details. But do you think anyone would have enjoyed the wedding less if they didn't have a temporary tattoo with my face on it? No, they wouldn't have. It was a nice to have, it was a cool thing, and I'm absolutely glad we did it. But food, booze, music, that's it. But the other thing, and I mean, potentially controversial, but I don't think so, and I know you won't think so, is that if you have to prioritize anything anywhere, I found prioritize your photographer and prioritize your videographer, because that's the only thing you actually have from this day to keep. We spent so much money on our photographer videographer, but we picked people that were just the most amazing people. Our photographer Ash Muir, as soon as I said
incredible.
Vanity Fair Oscars after party, she's like, I know exactly what you mean. And I was like, how? Like, how? So she was beyond incredible. I mean, every single photo that I look at, I don't consider myself a particularly photogenic person. I mean, when the mug's all dolled up, she's all right. But it's every photo I look at myself, and even if I don't think I look particularly, like, it's not the most flattering photo of me or whatever, I still look so happy, I don't care. And she managed to capture that essence and the emotion of the day, and that is like amazing. And we had Zach from Flat Rock Films do our video, which we haven't seen. Oh my God, he was like a hype man. Like, I feel like he was pulling double duty. He got everybody going and happy and just kept that vibe going, and it was like having a mate there. And he is a mate. Like, he's the most incredible, and he went above and beyond for us as well. I mean, we got home the next day, and he called me. He's like, you're not supposed to have this, but I've done a video for you. And it was something, honestly, I don't think we even paid for it. And he came and did this 45 seconds almost trailer a little clip for Instagram that we could share the day after, which was so cool because we were still in that bubble and we could send it to everybody and show them. And it was when our band, who are amazing, the Velvet Tones, they're incredible. They're a pub band, right? They're like, I wanted Danny Dolan's at 1 o'clock, and they delivered me Danny Dolan's at 1 o'clock.
Good.
But they learnt one song for me, which was Pink Pony Club by Chapel Roan, which obviously is not normally, in between a Sweet Caroline and a Wagon Wheel. And they learnt it for me, and it was a surprise, and Zach captured it. He knew it was happening, and that was the video that he made for me. So I get to remember this amazing, one of the highlights of my wedding day that I have. So that's the long-winded way of saying, just please do not skimp out on your photographer or your videographer, because you will be gutted if it is not captured in that way that you want, because why did you spend all that money? Like, memories fade. So and also one of my bridesmaids, she lost her father a couple of years after she got married, and that's her biggest regret. She always says, have a videographer. Like, it's gonna suck at the time with the outlay, but like, you can't get those memories back. So, or if you can't do a videographer, at least record your speeches and your vows so you can go back and have a look at them. And that could be done on an iPhone with a tripod, but make sure you record it, because you're so all over the place during the day. It's nothing really.
Forget those pretty quickly. Yeah. So special to have. Absolutely agree. Obviously biased on that point, but that's what you have after. And definitely makes it even more special when you have those memories when you lose people down the track. So I've heard that. Clients come back many times, and especially the video. I think people kind of skip that sometimes, and sometimes it is just
which I understand,
budget thing. Yeah,
and that's what I mean. I totally get it. But if you can't do it, then just have somebody's phone or somebody doing it, because you'll want it one day. And I think the other thing too is, wedding photos are sometimes you're really limited by your venue of what you can do. You don't want to be away from your guests too long, and there's the first look option and everything like that. As you can probably tell, we're not stand in a field at Twilight People or beach on Twilight People. They look amazing. Those photos are incredible. But it wasn't quite our personality. So we ended up contacting a bar on K Road, funnily enough again, which is 5 minutes away from our venue. And we did our photos in a bar before they opened.
So cool.
And I just love them so much. So sometimes thinking outside the box there too can be really cool.
I love that advice. Doesn't have to be always at the park or whatever. Think somewhere different, and there's lots of cool venues around.
Totally. And people do that for a reason, because it looks absolutely amazing. It's I think every wedding that I've ever been to, including my own, I think they've all been so different, but the ones that stick in my brain and the ones that were the best were the ones that stuck to the couple's personality. Like, one of my friends got married at her flat, outside at her rental, because she had a beautiful tree in the backyard, and it was one of the best weddings I've ever been to. Instead of presents, she asked everybody to bring 2 bottles of wine. And
amazing.
We stuck all the wine on the kitchen bench, and it was white, pink, and red. You have no idea what you were drinking. It could have been a $10 bottle. It could have been, but it was amazing. And it was just glasses lined up of white, red. She got Emma's to cater at her favorite restaurant, and we had this amazing kind of house party. And, a lot of that was done with budget in mind. It was one of the most magical nights that I've ever had. It doesn't really matter what the vibe is, as long as it's your vibe, you'll have an incredible day, and everyone else will have an incredible day.
Absolutely. Love that. Such good advice. Did you guys go on honeymoon straight away, or what did planning that look like?
Well, that was another piece of advice that I was given, was go, if you can, go on a honeymoon no matter where it is. If it's 2 minutes down the road, just get out of your normal routine and go away together to enjoy the bubble. Because if you go back to real life, it can be really jarring. So we got married on the Saturday, we left on the Wednesday, we went to Bali for 10 nights, which was amazing. I could have been anywhere with Mike and I wouldn't have cared. It was just spending time with him, reliving the wedding, kind of, we got some of our photos back, so that was so cool. I actually got my photos back at like 10:30 the next morning. I got 20 photos back, and I was like, this is amazing. So we did that, and it was, I highly recommend it. I mean, a lot of my friends have done like 2 or 3 night trips, like down to Queenstown or Wellington or whatever, or something, or even just going to the family batch, or who has a family batch anymore, but very much of just like even like an Airbnb for 2 nights in a row, just to kind of stay in that bubble for as long as you can.
Yeah, definitely. And did you have any helpful resources? I guess you had been at a lot of weddings in your time, and maybe knew some vendors and stuff as well, but was there anything you kind of used during the planning process for finding vendors or inspiration, all of that?
See, this is the weird thing because you would expect with all of my history for me to tell you that, oh yeah, I had this, and this. I genuinely didn't, and I don't know why. I had inspiration from Instagram, of course, for
Yeah.
what I live my life on. And I knew I wanted the vendors, like I knew I wanted Ash because I'd seen her photos. I knew I wanted Flat Rock films like Zach because my friends Manny and Ryan used him for their wedding day, and it was amazing. I knew I wanted like my florist, floral centric, because I'd just seen her flowers for years and had always kind of had it in the back of my brain. So no, I mean, it was Instagram. I bought a few issues of Together Journal, my friend Greta's wedding magazine. That's great. But then most of it was just kind of Mike and I talking about what we wanted. And that I actually think made it a bit easier because we started from within ourselves and worked out as opposed to having everything here and having to dilute it and bring it in, if that makes sense. I mean that we're a little bit more focused, I think.
Yeah, no, I love that. That's great advice. Just thinking about what represents you as a couple, almost your kind of values, because there is so much wedding content and everything out
Yeah.
there at the moment, which is amazing, but can be quite overwhelming and, yeah, make you feel pressure in a way. So, yeah, I love that you did it that way.
We tried.
You've given a lot of amazing advice already, but is there anything else you would say to a couple planning their wedding at the moment?
Take the marriage more seriously than the wedding, maybe. I think it's very easy to get caught up in the weeds with it and the small stuff, and you just don't have to. It's very important to get it right. Obviously, when you're investing this much money, you do want to get it right. You want to do it for yourself, for your friends, for your whānau, but at the end of the day, it's going to be okay because everybody is going to pull together to make it okay for you. It's your wedding day. You are special. And maybe the other thing would be, don't go into a wedding thinking you are going to be hosting. You are not the host, you are the guest of honor. Which I had to drill into Mike because he's been an MC. Maybe he's that guy who gets asked to be an MC. He's that guy. So he's done it about 6 or 7 times. So he's quite good at it, and he had very high expectations. He started joking about wanting to MC his own wedding, but he started joking about it so much that I think it kind of became serious. So I had to kibosh that very quickly. But one of my bridesmaids' husbands, Lloyd, he was just phenomenal. Like he was absolute dream MC, met Mike's lofty expectations, and we actually did get to sit back and enjoy our day. And we were the guests of honor, not the host. I think that's probably one of the biggest things that was in the back of my brain. In terms of any other advice, I think you kind of nailed it before of just that quote of do what makes you happy is very relevant on your wedding day because it's if you actually sit down and think about who you are as a couple and what you love to do, then you should kind of go out from there. Don't go with a list of like, well, here's what everybody else does for a wedding. The flowers should be white and the candle should be this. And, it's what's on trend at the moment. Okay, we need signs that are made out of very expensive linen sheets, which is ridiculous to use them for signage. Expensive linen sheets. I'm like, God, get them for your bed. Like, like it's so easy to get caught up in everything like that. Whereas it's actually about sitting down. What do you want? What is going to be your dream day? And go from there. And then when you have your budget, prioritize what is important to you as opposed to things that you think you should have because end of the day, nobody else, it's your wedding. Like, I know it's so easy to say. Mike's family were incredible. We didn't have any family pressure really to do anything. So we kind of had a blank slate, and I can understand how hard it is if you have external pressure, but you gotta stick up for yourself sometime. And your wedding day seems like a pretty good time to do that.
Absolutely. I love that. So much good advice in there. And what is married life like now? Do you feel like you got any post-wedding blues?
I really did it because of that thing before of like, let's get this done. I
Yeah.
was stoked after the wedding because I had the best day. I achieved everything I wanted to do. I felt amazing. I married the love of my life. Like, that was really important to me. You never want to lose sight of why you were doing this. It was amazing. I really didn't have wedding blues. In fact, by the time we got back from honeymoon, we were ready to come home and just start life together. Like, we've got so many amazing things, hopefully in the pipeline, and we were kind of just really keen to get on and do that. But yeah, I was surprised I didn't have any wedding blues either. I was prepared to be absolutely miserable for weeks of like, I'm never going to do this again. But no, and which I like to think that means that we did it well, and there was no lingering regret of anything or anything like that.
Oh, so good. Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. And yeah, is there anything else that we missed or you want to add as we wrap up?
I don't think so. I think that's a pretty comprehensive wrap up of the day. No, it was the most incredible. And when I talk about it like this now, I'm like, oh, it'd be cool to do
Mm.
again. But no, it was everything I wanted it to be and more. And like now I look at these incredible photos that we have, which are just, like, I mean, they're personally iconic, and I'm not arrogant enough to say they're iconic in any way, shape, or form. But for me, I look at them, I'm like, oh my, that's what I wanted. Like that's exactly what it is. Look how much fun I'm having. Like in terms of the things that I've done in my life, like this is, the most incredible day. How cool is it to have all of those things memorialized and done so well? So yeah, I think it was great. I mean, to be fair, by the time we got to about 9:30, the memories start to. I still remember everything, but by the time we were leaving the venue at 11:30, I was like, oh, she's had a few mugs, hasn't she? Look at her go.
Yeah.
Look at her
Sign of a
go.
good night. Yeah.
Sign of a good night, kind of wading through the door of like the light sticks that were on the dance floor, and like somebody's sunglasses are down there, and like there's trumpet rappers everywhere, and like it was the trinus of a good time, which I thought was really, really cool. But yeah, it was just the best day.
Oh, so cool. Love that. So cool to hear all about your experience. And I know you've written a bit about it on Capsule as well. So we'll link to that too. And yeah, love reading your work and what you guys do too. So cool.
Ah,
But thank you so much for
yeah.
coming on.
Thank you for having me. It was a real thrill. A little bit weird to not do the question asking, but hope I didn't ramble too
Flip
much
the
and do all of the
script a
things.
bit.
Yeah, do all of the things that other people do to me. Do to me.
No,
So
not
I
at
hope it
all.
was okay.
Love a big yap. So good.
Awesome, mate. Thank you so much.